Oh my god, 10 years.
Has it really been 10 years?
I started this channel a decade ago. Well, actually, me and my brother started it because we thought we could be the next great sketch comedians because that was a huge thing in 2015. I don't really know what we were expecting to happen recording a video portrait style on an iPhone 6, but if you had told me I would be here less than a mile away from where I recorded my first video 10 years later at the age of 23, I would think that at least something went right. For this important occasion, I'm gonna do something revolutionary that I definitely haven't done 96 times already. What's your first and last place airports? My pick for favorite airport would be Copenhagen. Now, the first time I read this question, I thought Sacramento, actually. But my description was like, oh, it gives off Scandinavian airport vibes, when I've actually been to Scandinavian airports. My least favorite airport is much easier. It's far and away Burbank Airport. The airport is so poorly designed, and they're remodeling it, so I guess they agree with that. There's no space in the airport. You walk out of security, and you're standing in a gate area immediately. There were people sitting in a hallway that leads to the bathroom because there was nowhere else to sit. How are you? What do you know? Well, they can't all be winners. Why do you have a Romanian flag on your wall? By the way, I'm Romanian. I've had a lot of Romanians comment on my videos over the years, so the fact that I finally went to Romania and got a Romanian flag is a huge source of pride. Hey, have you heard from your brother lately? This is a completely random person, but yeah, I have heard from him lately. I have to text him today because we actually started this channel together. Its original name was Beck and Bond Hassan. Random, but did you take a Nantucket to LaGuardia flight yesterday? I thought I saw you. This is honestly a compliment. You think I can afford to exist in Nantucket? You must think I'm doing really well for myself. My brother, respectfully, what are we doing getting tikka at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday? In Austin, they have these food trucks that are open like all night. And what could possibly be better after a night out than some tikka masala? Ali, what's up with the Palau shirts? I lived there for 18 months and loved it. Just curious on your connection. I don't know how this person could tell I like Palau. It's a real mystery. I only have one that still fits me, but it doesn't take a deep dive through my videos to find the other two. To understand why I would have these shirts is to understand that Palau has been a running joke on this channel for nearly 8 years now. What other country do you want to visit in Europe? Palau is not in Europe. Thank you for letting me know. Wow. I've always been fascinated by the country since I watched the movie Journey 2 when I was 9. Wait, why did you remove Drawing of the Week from public? That series was so peak. You and I have different definitions of peak. I had fun making Drawing of the Week, but it overstayed its welcome after a while. When I was in middle school, I used to do all these funny stick figure drawings in a notebook, but they weren't ever for YouTube content. So it wasn't forced at all. But then as the years went on, especially when I tried to reboot the series in college, it was just like I was only drawing stuff for the purpose of a YouTube video, and at that point, why can't I just talk about something I want to talk about? Why do I have to do a drawing like I'm 14? Maybe I'll put the series back up because I actually did work really hard on that. And to make 100 episodes of anything, especially as a teenager, is an accomplishment for sure. I'm actually really surprised and honored that somebody noticed this, and that's gone along with the general sentiment I felt in the last year where it's like people actually perceive me, and have for a long time really, if people still remember Drawing of the Week all these years later. I don't know if any of you guys remember George Dottie Williams, who's been commenting on my videos since 2019. I actually met him the other day, and you know what he gave me? He gave me a drawing that he had submitted and that was in Drawing of the Week number 86, an episode that came out 4.5 years ago. That was one of the nicest things that's ever happened to me. Hey, I wanted to let you know that I followed you for a long time and I really enjoy your content. That being said, I just saw your video on how you make your life into a TV series, and I think that's such a fun idea. Can you show me how you did it? This is the greatest question I've ever received on this series because it gives me a rare opportunity to talk about this. I've actually been interested in TV writing for longer than I've been making videos on this channel. I've come up with and storyboarded dozens of TV shows throughout the last 14 years. But my prized project that this person is referring to is the 9-season show that I wrote about my life in college. I've seen other people who do this too, and I think it goes with the life is so much more fun when you irrationally romanticize it, although I do hope this actually gets made one day. I'm gonna get sued by like 50 people, but that's worth it. I think the only thing you really need if you want to do it casually and like kind of make it like your own journal is a spreadsheet for every season, and then like the start and end date of each episode, and then a separate master list spreadsheet where you have every episode in order like every season and a summary for each one. I would highly recommend doing this even if you don't have a particular interest in TV writing. My reasoning for that is that doing this helps you view yourself from a third-person perspective. What would you think if you were viewing yourself as a character in a TV show? Would you think that you were like the bad guy or not? How many miles do you have on each airline? I have the app Flighty, which will provide you with so much flight data, specifically about the flights that you've taken, but it does not say how many miles you have on each airline. I can tell you for sure that the airline I have the most miles on is United. united and probably always will be. I can also tell you from this app the cumulative amount of miles, which is 312,639. As of this year, I've actually flown the length from the Earth to the moon, which is crazy to think about. They also have a slider for how far you've flown from the Earth to Mars, which seems so pointless. I fly more than 99% of people. I've already flown 4 times in September alone. And this is how far I've gotten. Who the hell would ever be able to do this? I need to know where you got your Palau shirt, my dude. Okay, I don't even know which one this is referring to. The dark gray one that I've been wearing since I started the Palau inside joke on this channel was a Christmas gift from my parents. The light gray one was also a gift from my parents, but for my 20th birthday. This one was a gift from my ex-girlfriend's mom, which, side note, apparently you're like not allowed to wear anything that has anything to do with an ex, ever. Maybe I'm the one who's out of touch on this one, but it's like, what is this, an engagement ring or something? I'm only allowed to wear it forever if we don't break up. Why would you get it for me? I love this shirt. You can't just get me a Palau shirt and expect me to not keep wearing it. It's really such a cruel world out there, except in Palau, because everything is perfect there. It's like Cupertino. So do you like the North Dakota Capitol? I can't tell from your ranking. I like the North Dakota Capitol more than I should have, given that it looks like a prison. I don't know, the vibes in Bismarck were just off the charts that day. Do you think Glenn Youngkin is a one-term governor? Call me the greatest political pundit of the year, but I can guarantee that he will be leaving office in January. This question slipped through the cracks. It was obviously asked quite a while ago, but it does give me the opportunity to talk about the upcoming Virginia governor's race, which is a complete train wreck for Republicans. Virginia is just such a tough state to campaign in because it feels like a lot of the time the outcome of a governor's race is a foregone conclusion from the start. It's no secret that in any election, governor's races, Senate races, House races, voters will swing against the party of the president. But nowhere is that more true than Virginia, where every single governor's race since the 1977 election, except for one, was won by the party out of the White House. A big reason why is because like half of the federal government lives in Virginia. Would you even believe it if I told you that the largest city in Virginia is Virginia Beach? No, because the state is realistically dominated by the DC suburbs. And even if you think that hasn't been true before, it sure as hell is true this year because so many former federal workers who live in Virginia got fired by the Trump administration. If you've ever considered going to Scotland, what places would you want to see? The only place I want to see is the Scottish Parliament. It looks like an old Chipotle from like 2013. Actually, scratch that. I would want to go to the place where they had that Willy Wonka thing. Win job. I don't like this question. I'm in kind of a gray area because I make enough money to sustain myself from social media, but I'm glad that social media has been around long enough to where I wouldn't get complacent. And what do I mean by that? I think back to my old favorite YouTuber, Jax Films. He started YouTube right after graduating high school and then going to the same college that I went to. In college, he started making money off of it and mentioned in several videos throughout the 2010s that it was his full-time job. I assume he probably got a job eventually because of how infrequently he uploads now. And no YouTubers really talk about this to my knowledge, but what do you do when you get into your like mid-30s? You can't do this forever. I make most of my money on an app that didn't even exist 10 years ago. And that segues nicely into the next question. I'll admit, it's been a while since I've kept up with this channel. Me too. I haven't uploaded in 8 months. Why were so many videos removed? I go back and forth about this. There's 2 reasons. The biggest one is trying to get a job. I've heard all these warnings on social media about people getting offers rescinded for like the smallest little thing on social media from like 8 years ago. None of my YouTube videos are particularly bad. I don't know. It's just like when you're applying for a job and when you're interviewing, you're kind of supposed to seem like you don't have a personality. You don't want to seem unserious in any way. The second reason is because I'm highly obsessive and detail-oriented when it comes to everything, and especially social media. Most of my YouTube videos are structured into a couple of series with numbered episodes, including this one. And it just really bothers me, the idea of putting some episodes back up and then having a playlist full of missing episodes. I mean, eventually I'll go through and figure it out. Also, have you traveled to any more places in 2025? Boy, have I. I flew on New Year's Eve from Houston to Manchester, which was a Fifth Freedom flight that doesn't exist anymore. Then I went to Poland and Bulgaria from there, which deserves its own video going to these places in the dead of winter. In February, I went to Iceland with my then girlfriend. I went to New Orleans a week later for Mardi Gras, which I'd passed through New Orleans a lot and never actually done anything there until this year. A week after that, I went to Guatemala by myself spontaneously because I realized I didn't have any spring break plans. In April, I did a day trip to New York City, and then a couple days later, did a day trip to several different cities in Florida to film some transit content because I just realized that people really like that on TikTok. In May, I went on a big South America trip starting in Uruguay, then Argentina, Chile, Panama, Ecuador. I went to Minnesota, then North Dakota for 1 day just to film a video about a flight. Then I met up with my ex-girlfriend in Germany, and we went to Cyprus and Romania, and then I went by myself to Moldova, Turkey, Greece, Sicily, DC to move out of my apartment. I just went to Tucson, Arizona, San Antonio, and Mexico City. What happened on November 2nd, 2024? Too soon, man. That day is a really hard day to talk about. For those of you that don't have a photographic memory like me, That was the day the Seltzer poll came out. The one that had Kamala Harris leading by 3% in Iowa 3 days before the election, which was a huge deal because Seltzer was at the time the gold standard of polling. Not anymore, I guess. Surpassed by my polling firm, DN Research, of course. If you could call any 2026 race to be an upset, which one would you call? The Alaska governor's race. What are the best qualities for a state capital city to have? I normally don't praise Texas for that much. I think it's a very overrated state overall, but I think that Austin is a great blueprint for a state capital. A good quality for a state capital is to have more to do than just state capital related stuff. A lot of states built their state capital in some random town that's dedicated as a state capital, and they're all just carbon copies of each other, where the only cool things to see are the state capitol, the governor's mansion, and one antiquated street with a bunch of cute shops. Be sure to like and subscribe, and join me as we trudge along to 100 episodes. We're gonna get there eventually, I promise.